My Hero Academia is an anime series that has taken the world by storm ever since the introduction of its first season in 2016. The show has become massively popular all around the world and has won a multitude of awards. There's multiple My Hero Academia video games, My Hero merchandise, and even a My Hero movie. There's also a second movie currently in production. If you've never seen the show, you may be wondering, why is this show about superhero kids so popular? I mean, the idea of a group of superpowered teenagers going to a special school to learn how to control their powers isn't really an original idea. So what's different? What's different is the characters. My Hero Academia is full of crazy, unique, eccentric, over-the-top, but down-to-earth, real characters. Every character in the show feels like someone you'd know in real life, and the struggles they deal with feel real. Maybe a bit over-exaggerated, but still. Whether a character is trying to live up to their own or another's expectations, trying to sustain or kill a legacy, or even trying to prove they're just as good and as valuable as everyone else. These fictional characters face problems you or I would face. This is why these characters are so beloved by the fans, and why people adore the likes of Midoriya, Todoroki, Ida, and best boy Bakugo. That's right, Bakugo is best boy. It's triple iteration, so it's fact. But with all these brilliant characters, there's one in particular who is just as amazing, but he just doesn't shine as bright as the others. His brilliance is subtle, so he gets overlooked. The person I'm referring to is Yuga Aoyama. When we first meet Aoyama, he seems just like all the other students. He's extremely confident, he's got a powerful quirk. It makes sense that he would get into UA. Unlike some people, Then, we get to the fitness exam. This is where we are introduced to the true Aoyama. He is cocky and fully believes he's the be-all and end-all. He has ridiculous confidence and is 110% overconfident in his quirk and his abilities. In a way, he's a parallel to Bakugo. The difference between the two, however, is that Aoyama settles. In the results for the fitness test, Aoyama comes in 14th. This is average if not below. If Bakugo came in 14th, he'd be outraged and probably make a scene and then do everything in his power to make sure he's number one next time. Whereas Aoyama doesn't say anything. He passed, so he's happy. That's all he cares about. We see this attitude in Aoyama again before the students do the written exam. He comments how it's too late for the other students to start studying, even though he hasn't started studying either, and he ranked 18th overall in the last written test. Because he passed, he sees no reason to go further beyond. He just wants to get by. This mentality of just getting by goes against everything Aoyama says. He claims to be amazing and constantly tries to put himself in the spotlight and shine above everyone else in his class, yet he never performs as good as he thinks he will. But why does Aoyama act like this? The reason why Aoyama acts like this is because he wants to be special. He wants to feel important. He is arguably the most human character out of everyone in the show. I mean, if you think about it, don't we all just want to be special? In reality, everybody wants to be that guy. The person whose destiny it is to save the world, the person who makes a change, the person who stands out from the crowd for all the right reasons, the person who everyone admires and wants to be, the person who is a proud symbol, the person who is a hero. Ever since a young age, we all believe we are destined for greatness. I mean, how could we not be? We talked about how we would save the world or live out our dreams, yet, as time goes on, we settle. We stop pushing ourselves. We tell ourselves, this is good enough. And yet, there's a little voice inside still telling us, we are still special, even though we don't perform as well as we think we will. We see this in Aoyama when he promises to win the sports festival for Ojiro. He barely made it into the first 2 rounds, yet he fully believes he can win. This is why Aoyama's journey in the show is so important. While we are drawn to the adventures of Deku, Todoroki, and Best Boy, realistically, they're the minority. Very few people push themselves above and beyond. It's what makes them so special in both the My Hero world and our world. It's a sad truth, but the majority settle. Just like Aoyama. Aoyama is just average in his class. But just because he is average, doesn't mean he can't be a hero. During the training camp arc when we meet the villains attack, we see Aoyama sitting crouched terrified behind a bush, while his classmates are out fighting villains and helping one another. There are 2 villains in front of Aoyama, yet he remains behind a bush hiding and hoping the villains won't notice him. At first you would think Aoyama is a coward for not fighting these villains and doing something heroic. But in reality, Aoyama is doing the right thing. For the first time, he realizes he's not the one to stand up and act. He realizes he's not the chosen hero that takes down the 2 villains. He doesn't have a chance against these two, and he knows it. So he sits back and hopes for the best. Ironically, when Aoyama doesn't stand out, he becomes a hero. When the villains are about to escape with Tokoyami and Bakugo, Aoyama shoots a beam towards the villains, causing them to release one of the boys. No one knows he's there. He could run away or jump into the spotlight like he normally does. But he doesn't, because he has realized his own limits and capabilities. So instead, he stays on the sidelines and does what he knows he can do. From this point onwards, Aoyama is noticeably quieter. He doesn't try and stand out or make himself seem like the big hero. And he stays like this until the hero license exam. During the exam, we find out Aoyama has been hiding away from everyone, biding his time until the exam ends. Already, we see he's not being the typical Aoyama we know. Instead of showing the world who he is, he's staying hidden from the crowds, trying not to be noticed by anyone. It's at this point Aoyama has fully realized the truth, and instead of trying to improve, he gives up. He believes he's not as good as the other members of his class, so he forfeits. Why should he try if he's not as good as the others? Ida finds Aoyama while he's out looking for his classmates. Here, Ida explains his ultimate dream to Aoyama, and how the only way he's going to achieve his dream is through actions. This is the turning point for Aoyama, as all through the show so far, he believed he was special and unique. But after seeing his classmates and everything they can do and how they all stand out, he no longer had faith in himself. Instead of being overconfident, he now had no confidence. He no longer believed he could be a hero, but in front of him was someone he believed could be. He was inspired by Ida's speech about striving towards his ultimate dream, because he thought his own dream was dead. So instead of hiding away, he decided to sacrifice his only chance to pass the exam in order to help someone he thought was special. Right here is when the character arc of Yuga Aoyama comes full circle. The once self-obsessed, cocky wannabe hero shoots his naval laser up into the sky, knowing full well he's ruining any chance he has of fulfilling his dream. It is a completely selfless act of heroism that only he had the power to perform. And when it looked like all hope was lost, the classmates who ignored him time and time again for trying to stand out noticed his final beacon of hope and rushed to his aid. By sacrificing his dreams of standing out and being a hero, Aoyama inadvertently made his dream come true. In that moment, the hero Can't Stop Twinkling was born, giving hope to the majority. That just because you settle now doesn't mean you're done. This is the brilliance behind the character of Yuga Aoyama in the My Hero Academia anime.